At 2:47 a.m., every single light in the house next door came on. That house has been empty for 10 years. I have lived beside it my entire adult life. 10 years of darkness. 10 years of overgrown grass. 10 years of nobody. At 2:47 a.m. on a Thursday, every window lit up at the exact same moment. I watched it for 4 minutes before I understood. Nobody was turning those lights on from inside. I moved into my house at 28. The house next door was already empty then. My neighbor across the street, Mrs. Patterson, told me the history. A family had lived there. Mother, father, 2 children. They moved out suddenly. No yard sale, no moving truck. One day they were there, the next day they were gone. That was 10 years before I arrived. 20 years of emptiness total by the time the lights came on. The house was maintained by a property company. Grass cut occasionally. Windows intact. No vandalism, which was strange. Nobody ever broke in. Patterson said, the neighborhood kids dared each other to go near it sometimes. Nobody ever actually went. I asked her why. She looked at the house for a moment, then she said, it watches you back. I told myself she was being dramatic. For 10 years, I told myself that. I was awake because of insomnia. Not unusual for me. I was in the kitchen making tea when the light changed in my window. I looked out. Every window of that house was lit. Ground floor, second floor, attic. Every single one. All at the same moment. I stood at my kitchen window and I watched. The lights were not moving. No shadows passing by windows. No signs of anyone inside. Just every light on. In a house with no electricity connection listed on the property records. I had checked once out of curiosity. The utilities had been disconnected 19 years ago. I called the non-emergency police line. They sent a car. 2 officers went to the door, knocked, no answer. Walked the perimeter. Reported nothing unusual. One of them looked up at the windows and then looked away quickly. He didn't explain why. They left. The lights stayed on for exactly 1 more hour. At 3:47 a.m., they all went off at the exact same moment they came on. I did not sleep that night. The next morning I knocked on Mrs. Patterson's door. She knew why I was there before I said a word. She had seen the lights too. She sat me down and told me something she said she had never told anyone. The family that left, the father had come to her door the morning before they disappeared. He was not a religious man. She knew this. He had made fun of her Bible on more than one occasion. That morning, he asked if he could borrow it. She gave it to him without asking why. He came back 2 hours later, returned it, said nothing except, it didn't work. The next morning, they were gone. Patterson paused. Then she said, I've always wondered if he knew how to use it. Just holding a Bible isn't enough. You have to actually believe what's inside it. I thought about that for a long time. That afternoon, I went to the property company and asked about the house. The woman on the phone was quiet when I gave the address. Then she said, that property is not available. It has never been available. The owner refuses all offers. I asked who the owner was. She said, the original family. They still own it. They just won't come back, and they won't sell. 20 years. They kept paying the taxes, kept the property company fees, but never came back, never sold. A house they abandoned, that they were still paying for, that they refused to let anyone else have. That night, I stood at my bedroom window, looking at the dark house, Patterson's words in my head. Just holding a Bible isn't enough. You have to actually believe what's inside it. I got my Bible. I opened my window, and I read Psalm 91 out loud, facing that house directly. Not whispering, not quietly, out loud, into the night air, toward those dark windows. He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. The house stayed dark. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in whom I trust. I finished the psalm. I closed the window. The lights have not come on since. That was 11 months ago. I read Psalm 91 every night now. at my bedroom window, facing that house. Not because I am afraid of what might be inside it, because I want whatever is inside it to be absolutely certain of what is inside mine. Patterson told me something else when I went back to thank her. She said the father, the morning he borrowed her Bible, had looked like a man who had tried everything else first. He had that look, she said. The look of someone who has run all the way to the end and found something they should have started with. I think about that look sometimes. I wonder if I would have understood it before 2:47 a.m. on a Thursday. I don't think I would have. Some things you have to be shown before you believe them. The house next door showed me. And what I learned from it was not what lives next door. Loop line. The house next door has been empty for 10 years. Every window's still dark. Every night I read Psalm 91 toward those windows. And every night, they stay that way. End question. Have you ever had a neighbor or a house nearby that felt wrong in a way you couldn't explain?